When is enough enough? You ever been there? You ever been with someone and you finally said, this is enough. I've had it. There's no more. Well, that's different for everyone. That's called the tipping point. That's when you're no longer willing to continue as is. Normally, enough is enough is when you've hit your pain threshold. You can't go on any further. And then, once you hit that tipping point, you are able to make a decision to go in a different direction. Because you come to the understanding that nothing changes until you change. But you're not going to change until you decide. And most of the time, it's unfortunate. Tony Robbins says this in his Unleash the Power Within, and probably a dozen other things, and other people have said it too. Most people, 90%, are motivated by pain, only 10% by pleasure. So most people have to get to a level of pain so deep that they're willing to make a change. They're willing to make a decision to change. You hear that all the time about people who have addictions, that you really can't help them until they hit bottom. What does bottom mean? They hit a level of pain where it's no longer tolerable for them, and now they're willing to change. What's tolerable depends on the individual. The key thing is, the type of pain that we're talking about here is created in our mind. It's created with the emotions that we've attached to our thoughts. And the more we think those thoughts attach with those emotions, the deeper it becomes. The deeper it becomes, more it's repressed into the subconscious mind. And it takes a lot more work to get it out. So if you're a person, let's say my age, and you're repressing something that happened to you when you were 3 years old, and you've done it for 70 years, you're not going to be able to just pop out of that. It's a working out of it. It's a process, but the process can't begin until you decide enough is enough. Because until you decide, you're leaving the opportunity to go back. Here's a great example. There were many, many times back in my 20s and my early 30s that I was going to quit smoking. And I would try. I decided. Sure enough, I go a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even did hypnotism, 4 weeks, went back. I didn't decide. I was playing with it. I was hoping. If you're hoping to decide, if you're hoping to change, realize not going to happen. When you make a decision that enough is enough, there is no turning back. I remember the day. It was in March of 1984. I was holding my son Stephen in my arms, walking out to the mailbox in Tampa, Florida. I had a cigarette and I was smoking on it, and I saw him look at me. And I said, damn, that's not what I want my son to see. I threw down the cigarette and I never picked up one again. Why was I able to decide? Because I knew at the core of all that I was that I wanted children. And I also knew I didn't want them to be brought up the way I was. And my dad was a smoker. My dad was a drinker. I really not drank. I probably had 25 drinks in the last 41 years. I've had 0 cigarettes. Why? Because I decided. I had enough benefits associated with making that decision that for me not to make the decision would be greater pain than to continue doing the habit. So I don't know where you are in your life, but I know there are things in you that you want to change. So if you want to change and you don't know what the tipping point is now or that, I invite you to say, if I make this change, How will it benefit my life? And how will it benefit those closest to me? And stack them. Keep listing them until you have 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 reasons why change would do you good. And you'll know how many reasons you need, because you'll hit the tipping point, and enough will be enough. It's a great day to be alive. Guess what? You get to make it so. Much love, everyone.